Hello everyone and welcome to Pokemon Crystal with Jokes. I'm a bit more prepared than Professor Oak was for this experience, who is asleep no matter what time it is and will no doubt spend the rest of the day recovering from a terrible hangover. In a world where it gets dark at 6 o'clock and the hour and minutes are two different questions, I can play as a chick, which was a big deal back then. As for the name, I had no choice but to rep the best girl from Fire Emblem Three Houses. As we shrink down to size in this pixelated midget universe, might I remark on the change of decorum in our new interior, as opposed to the psych ward that was our house in Pokemon Red. There are improvements, but new oddities as well. Some things haven't changed, like our bed still being in the corner of the room, which blocks you in on one side and hampers possible evasive maneuvers should a rapist barge in unannounced. Not that he'd ever be announced. Hello, my name is Phil, and I'm here to traumatize you forever if that's okay, and even if it's not okay, really. We also have a PC on a desk next to a radio that is as big as the PC, because it wasn't too long ago that the world just sucked so hard you wouldn't even believe it. At least we don't have a TV in the middle of the floor anymore. It is fashioned properly on a nice cabinet, but I guess we're still expected to sit on the floor while watching it, so we must be out of the poverty line. But we're about to get mega rich as a trainer anyway. Coming down the stairs, your mom gives us our recently repaired Pokegear, which she probably broke in a drunken stupor because she can't even remember what day it is. You might call that a stale joke after the one about Oak's hangover, but it actually just means New Barktown is a party city and the adults go hard. That's why your house doesn't even have a bedroom for your mom. She knew full well when she bought it she was going to spend most nights sleeping it off in other people's bathtubs. Professor Elm's son says he wants to become a great researcher like his dad, and if you dig into the lore, there's an Easter egg where you discover that this little boy is actually a young Professor Juniper. This lady says, "Wow, your Pokegear is impressive. Did your mom get it for you?" Or you can read it like, "Wow, your Pokegear is impressive. Did your mom get it for you?" Alright, let's go get our Pokemon. Professor Elm wants to present some findings at a conference, but he needs us to find them for him by raising one of the Pokemon contained in these nuts. We can choose between Cyndaquil, Totodile, or Chikorita, and I saved the worst for last. Totodile is a winner in my book, we're taking him. This creepy ginger is staring at the side of the building. You imagine there's a window there, but he could very well be gazing intently at a blank wall, but he's a meanie who has the audacity to drop-kick a woman 2 full tiles away. Sorry, ladies, this is part of equality. And my feet left the ground, too. Like, this wasn't a shove. He just hoisted me up and threw me like a shot put. Our first wild Pokemon is a Rattata who wants it. Look at that ass shaking. He's probably got AirPods in listening to Nicki Minaj. We reach Mr. Pokemon's house, where Professor Oak is asleep at his desk after a day-drinking binge. Pokemon research is hard work, and it's tough to stay sane without a daily bottle of Jameson. Hashtag sponsored. Hashtag not really. Mr. Pokemon gives us a Pokemon egg, a major discovery that proves this universe as a whole can't have been studying Pokemon for more than a few days. How is that not one of the first things you notice? You study wild Pokemon from afar, you plant cameras, you observe them in captivity, and you've never seen two of them bang? The daycare couple is like, "We have no idea where this egg came from. Is it even a Pokemon? It could be human." We get the egg to take back to Professor Elm, and Oak gives us a Pokedex because I'm so nice to my Totodile. Upon exiting the house, Professor Elm calls to report a disaster, so we head over in that direction but are stopped by that same red-haired wife-beater from before. He challenges us to a battle and sends out Chikorita, which looks suspiciously like the Chikorita we saw in Professor Elm's laboratory when we chose our starters. Nice pick, idiot. Nothing says badass like, "Chiku! Chiku!" After we send his Chikorita flying 2 tiles away, he says his name is question mark, but I think he's lying. When we arrive back at the lab, Professor Elm exclaims that a Pokemon was stolen and that the suspect was some wimpy bitch boy with red hair. The police officer asks if we got his name, because you know how criminals usually wear name tags while committing crimes. Dude, he's an idiot. He saw us there. He saw us see him there. He runs into us and tells us his name like we're not a retroactive witness to his shadiness. This kid is a doofus, and I'm giving him the name to prove it. We give Elm the egg, and he's like, "OMG, I never expected that Pokemon could reproduce. I thought when all the alive ones died out, we'd just be done with Pokemon and have to restructure our entire civilization. This is an amazing discovery." Then he tells us to take the gym challenge, so we set off for Violet City, but before that we have to tell our mommy. We find her hunched over the kitchen stove, boiling water to cook some sloppy, disgusting hot dogs in, and we notify her about our impending adventure. She offers to save some of our money. Right, like we don't know that's going to a collection of vintage shot glasses, you mess on two legs. On our arrival in Violet City, we meet up with a foreigner named Earl on 8 different kinds of crack, who somehow teaches at a school for Pokemon trainers, but it sure ain't an English class. Another feature of Violet City is Sprout Tower, a place where Buddhist monks worship the Pokemon Bellsprout. If they were Catholic priests, I'd understand the fixation. Bellsprout are small, thin, and have huge gaping mouths that never close, but otherwise it's lost on me. We come upon Doofus in the aftermath of his battle with the Elder, who scolds him for treating his Pokemon harshly. Doofus uses an escape rope while at the top of a tower, so I can only assume he swung out a window like Tarzan and plummeted 5 stories to the ground. But now it's time to fight our long-lost brother, Faulkner, the gym leader of Violet City and breaker of Pokemon evolution rules. The man's got a level 9 Pidgeotto. He's using hacks. Does it know Hyper Beam too? What else have you cheated? But he's no match for my solo over-leveled Totodile. I haven't seen anything else I've wanted yet. And I think it's rude you can't catch Mareep until after you beat this gym leader. Also, especially because he's all like, people say you can clip flying-type Pokemon's wings with a jolt of electricity. I won't allow such insults to bird Pokemon! And then imagine you send out Mareep and Thundershock him to death. That's just poetic. Very missed opportunity. But that Zephyr badge is mine. Now that I'm a badass with 1 gym badge, I think it's time I materialized a bicycle out of thin air and rode off into the sunset, except Elm wants me to meet his aide at the Pokemon Center for yet another favor. Like, what am I, an indentured servant now? My debt to you for giving me a Pokemon was paid after I gave you the egg, and then ID'd the dude who stole your other Pokemon. We're square, bruh. I do think it's time for me to add a new member to my team, though. And little known fact about Pokemon Crystal, but this particular patch of grass west of Violet City actually has a decimal's chance of producing Houndour. All you have to do is use cheats, and that decimal will be 100.0. The problem with Houndour is that its catch rate is super low with a Pokeball, even at this level, so he'd be making me work for it, but it'll be so worth. And I justify doing this A, because I can, and B, because otherwise you can't get this man till you beat the Elite Four and walk halfway through Kanto. Nobody's still adding to their team at that point. This Pokemon might as well not even exist. It's like how Slugma is technically a Generation 2 Pokemon, but you find it so late and it's so common in Gen 3, it might as well be a Gen 3 Pokemon. Same with Skarmory, if you ask me. Unlike Houndour, which shows up nowhere in any generation ever, with very few exceptions. They're basically trying to never let you catch this Pokemon, so I appreciate XD Gale of Darkness for making it one of the first things that shows up. And to celebrate my catch, I think I'll ride my bike indoors. Who's gonna stop me? Look, the nurse ain't saying shit. She's too scared of my Houndour. I'm on top of the world. Let me go talk to Elm's aide. Elm's always the one that's like, Petra, this isn't the time to use that. I dare your lackey to run home on his 2 skinny walking legs and tell you what I did. I dare him to be like, Professor, she's riding her bike indoors. Professor Elm's just like, her power is becoming too great. All units move in, subdue the target and her bicycle. If we don't act now, soon she'll be unstoppable. So that was all done. Anyway, the aide wants us to take the Pokemon egg, like I'm not plopping that unborn child into the lonely digital wilderness of the PC box immediately. Near the Union Cave entrance, we run into a lady who doesn't show up very often. It's Frida, who is like if TGIF was a person. To celebrate, she injects me with cobra venom and everything turns black. I mean, imagine you introduce yourself to someone and they were like, nice to meet you. Here's a poison barb for you. It sounds like I'm being attacked, but I'll take it. In Azalea Town, everyone commissions Kurt to make hella balls for them. The prosthetic testicle market is flourishing in this part of the country. But before we can get some balls for ourselves, we learn that Team Rocket is cutting off Slowpoke tails down at the well and selling them because the Slowpoke tail market is also flourishing in this part of the country, and I'm starting to think this is a very weird part of the country. So we have to go punish them instead of Kurt because little Timmy fell down a well and broke his fucking back, but it's okay because Lassie breathes fire and they stand no chance. As we attempt to leave Azalea Town before fighting the gym leader to make this more narratively cohesive, Doofus appears and sends out a Ghastly, which makes me wish my Dark-type Pokemon knew a Dark-type move. But we still beat up him and his Bayleaf by poisoning and burning it to death. Bad way to go. And that just leaves Bugsy, the Bug-type gym leader. I feel like these people choose their own name after they decide what kind of gym leader they're gonna be. This can't be a coincidence. You never hear one go, hi, my name's Skyla, and I have a real affinity for ground types. Anyway, it's very unfortunate that Bugsy has to come up against a Houndour, although Scyther is almost able to take it out because my defense stat doesn't exist. Gimme that high badge. Well, that's gonna do it for part 1. More to come. Like, share, and subscribe, and become a channel member and all that. Check out the finished Pokemon Red with Jokes series if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time.